What's happening, everybody? Justin, Bridgewater's finest on YouTube, Blockbuster_guy on Twitter, and welcome to week 11 of my weekly NFL Picks show for the 2014-2015 NFL season. It is 9:55 in the morning, which is an early morning for me. I know how pathetic that is. So it is the return of Sleepy Justin's Picks. I am tired. You can hear it in my voice. So let's see how this goes. We're going to go through my results from week 10, which was not a bad week by any stretch, before we get into the picks for week 11. Week 10 on the big three against the spread was not a great one. I only went 1-2, unfortunately. Told you to take Pittsburgh -4.5, and that was the shock of the week, with the Steelers losing to the Jets. I told you to take New Orleans -4.5. That did not work out either. Had a chance where the game went to overtime, but New Orleans could not get it done. I also told you to take Denver -11. That one did work out. The Broncos won big. So there was only 1-2 there. I'm only 13, 16, and 1 on the big three against the spread this week, but I'm only one perfect week away from being 500. But that 1-2 on the big three is extra disappointing considering I went 8-5 against the spread last week. That's a really good week for me. So 8-5 against the spread has me sitting at 71, 74, and 2 on the season. Much better than I was a couple of weeks ago. Let's take a look at the platinum, gold, silver, and bronze picks from week 10. It's my first sweep in a long time. I got all 4 of them last week. Let's start with the bronze pick. I told you to take Dallas over Jacksonville. That one worked out 31-17 in jolly old England. This game was over at the half, but the Jags did put up a 10-0 fourth quarter, so it is something worth mentioning. Denard Robinson pulls off another really good game. His numbers drop a little bit. He only got 60 yards on 15 carries, but he did find the house twice. This kid is legit. This kid is a superstar in the making. My silver pick, I told you to take Green Bay over Chicago in an NFC North tilt, and this game was not even close. Denver runs over Chicago 55-14. A-Rod pulled a Roethlisberger, or Roethlisberger pulled 2 A-Rods. Anyways, Aaron Rodgers threw 6 touchdown passes to 5 different receivers in this game. A huge game for Aaron Rodgers. The Packers are 5-1 in their last 6 games now. They are really rolling, and 4-1 since Aaron Rodgers gave that whole relaxed speech. Meanwhile, Chicago played a very undisciplined game, especially after they got down early. They turned the ball over 3 times and committed 11 penalties. Gold pick, I told you to take Baltimore to beat Tennessee, which was kind of a close pick in some respects, but Baltimore pulls it off. They win the game 21-7. Really, the story of this game was Baltimore's ground attack was just too much for the Titans. They absolutely grinded out this win. On the ground, Baltimore picked up 151 yards on 34 carries and found the house twice. That was the difference in the game. And for my platinum pick, I told you to take Seattle at home to beat the New York Giants. That worked out in a big way, better than doubling them up 38-17. Like the Baltimore-Tennessee game, this was a game that was decided on the ground. Seahawks found the end zone on the ground 3 times in the fourth quarter. Seattle's defense may have also turned a corner here in the last couple of games. They were underperforming a little bit earlier in the season, but in the last 3 games, Seattle's only given up 50 points. That's under 17 points a game. They have 5 sacks and 4 interceptions. So Seattle's defense starting to play a little bit better, and that's bad news for everybody in the NFC. So I nailed all 4 last week, platinum, gold, silver, and bronze. My records on the season now, platinum and silver are both at 8-2. My gold pick is back to 500 at 5-5, and my bronze pick is at 6-4. Overall, in week 10, I had another respectable 8-5 week. It's, again, no standing ovations, but no hysterical laughter. 91 up, 55 down, and 1 on the season. And taking a look at the results from the Bridgewater's finest pick'em pool, I did not move. I'm still in 16th place. Now out of 40, we picked up another manager. 770 out of 1,161 possible confidence points. That is a clip of 66%. And in week 10, I managed to pull in a very good 70 out of 91 possible confidence points. That is a clip of 77%. Shout out to our week 10 winner, DeMaria _. Had a great week, had an 11-2 straight up week. That is great, and that is with forgetting to make a pick in the Thursday night game, so that's pretty good. 84 out of 91 possible confidence points. That is a clip of 92%. That is a huge week for our week 10 winner. We also have a new overall leader, but our new overall leader is the old overall leader, 2EZ par Deux, back on top. 93, 53, and 1 on the year. 812 out of 1,161 possible confidence points. That is a clip of 70%, and that 69 to 70% mark seems to be the watershed mark for leading this thing so far through the year, so that is what I am shooting for. But shout out to Demaria _ for winning week 10, and for 2EZ par Deux being our new and old, and now new again, overall leader. I'll take this opportunity in the video to remind you that if you go to the description of this video, you're going to be able to see all of my results from week 10, all of my against the spread picks for week 11, the details on how to get into the Bridgewater's finest pick'em pool for season 3, as well as the links to other high-quality YouTube prognosticators that do not do their videos while tired. Alright folks, let's do this. Week 11 picks. Time to get started. Let's go to the big 3 against the spread as we start every week. My number 3 play on the big 3 against the spread comes in probably the marquee game of the week, the New England Patriots at the Indianapolis Colts. Colts are actually favored in this one by 2.5 points at home. Bit of an interesting trend here I've spotted with Indianapolis is when Indianapolis are favored, they're usually always favored by right around that 3-point mark. Even in games it looks like they might blow out, it's still only Indianapolis -3. Makes you wonder what the bookies are up to. The result of that being the Colts are 6-2 against the spread when they're favorites. Will be interesting to see how well the Patriots travel. It's not a hugely long trip, but at the same time, it will be in unfriendly territory against a more than capable football team. This is probably one that I should have stayed miles away from, especially on the big 3, but I gotta go with my gut here, and my gut says Indy at home. 2.5 points is nothing, so for the number 3 play on the big 3 against the spread, I'm going to tell you to take Indianapolis -2.5 versus New England. My number 2 play on the big 3 against the spread sees us revisit the AFC East, with Buffalo on the road in Miami. Miami's favored by 5 points at home. Miami is just a different beast at home. It's so weird to see the two dichotomies between the road teams and the home teams, but especially with Miami, because nobody really looks at Miami and be like, yo, that's a dominant home team. They're the Saints of the AFC. Nobody says that, but this season, Miami has been extremely dominant at home. On the other end of that, Buffalo's got a pretty good defense, especially against the pass, and Tannehill has performed relatively well in the last little while. Not the greatest last week against Detroit, but Detroit's a great defense. I like Miami at home here. I think Kyle Orton's starting to struggle a little bit with getting back into the groove of being an every week starter. He hasn't put up real spectacular numbers in the last couple of games, I don't think. And you know what? Miami being at home, I'm going to take that. So in my number 2 pick for my big 3 against the spread this week, I'm going to tell you to take Miami -5 at home against Buffalo. And my top play on the big 3 against the spread this week comes in the Philadelphia at Green Bay game. Green Bay also favored by 5 points at home. Of the few things that Carolina did right in that Monday night drubbing at the hands of Philadelphia, they got the ball vertical. Yes, it was in garbage time, but Philly kind of took their foot off the gas and really showed that they have a little bit of trouble defending that vertical pass. 2 touchdown passes in the fourth quarter to Kelvin Benjamin. And if there's one thing that the Packers can do, they can put the ball vertical. Every time I look at Aaron Rodgers' stats, especially playing at home, I'm absolutely blown away that more people don't think he's one of the best, if not the best quarterback in football. I think Green Bay's going to be able to dominate time of possession in this game, especially against Chip Kelly and that high-tempo offense. And as long as Green Bay's defense can hold strategically, they don't have to hold every possession, but they do have to strategically hold. I honestly think Green Bay should be able to win this game fairly handily with that passing attack. I expect another big day from Aaron Rodgers, so that's the way I'm going to go. My top play on the big 3 against the spread this week, I'm going to tell you to take Green Bay -5 at home against Philly. Now let's take a look at the platinum, gold, silver, and bronze picks for week 11. We're going to start with the bronze pick, where again I am 6-4. My bronze pick comes with the Tennessee Titans playing host to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Tough losses on the road for both of these teams last week. Tennessee at the hands of Baltimore, Pittsburgh at the hands of the lowly Jets. FYI, we're speaking about the Steelers, that victory formation, Troy Polamalu, bad impression thing, that was Bush League. But now that I say that, I guess that begs the question. My first question for you guys to answer in the comments section, go back and look at that clip from last week's game, Pittsburgh at New York. You know exactly the play that I'm talking about. New York lines up in victory formation to take a knee. I can't remember who it was, but he goes and he dives over the line of scrimmage, gets back body dropped, and there's a huge melee. What did you think of that play? Did you think it was Bush League? Did you think it was smart? What did you think about it? Let me know in the comments section below. Taking a look at this week, Tennessee versus Pittsburgh in Tennessee. How do I think it's going to go? 2 words, Le'Veon Bell. I made my thoughts on this game fairly clear in the NFL YouTube Prognosticators Facebook page. I'm just going to repeat that a little bit right here. The Titans gave up the 4th most rush yards against per game this season, and of those 4 teams that are on the bottom in terms of rush yards against per game, only the Giants give up more points against per game on average than do the Titans. The Titans' pass D keeps them in games, and that is worth noting because Roethlisberger has been throwing the ball more this season. But every time this season that Tennessee has faced a team with a good running back, a good run game, I should say, as well as a good to very good quarterback. We're looking at Dallas, Cincinnati, Indianapolis, Baltimore. Every time that they have faced that combination, they have lost. I'm not saying Pittsburgh's as good as those teams, but I am saying that Pittsburgh is good enough to beat Tennessee. So, for the bronze pick, I'm going to tell you to take Pittsburgh on the road to beat Tennessee. My silver pick, where I am 8-2 on the season, sees the St. Louis Rams playing host to the Denver Broncos. The Broncos made an example of the Oakland Raiders last week, beating them 41-17, while the Rams played the Cardinals, and the Cardinals made a bit of an example out of them, beating them 31-14. I shouldn't really characterize it that way. That was a closer game than that score would indicate. Some people are whispering that this might be a trap game. I don't know. I mean, I don't see how. I don't see how or why this could possibly be a trap game. Denver looks like they've got multiple running backs going now that they can roll out basically at will. C.J. Anderson had a good game last week. The pass attack is as good as it's been at any point this season. Peyton's rolling. And, you know, the Rams are one of the most unpredictable teams in football because you never know when they're going to show up and play an elite level game. Do I think they're going to do that this week? No, I don't, even though they're at home. So for the silver pick, I'm going to tell you to take Denver on the road in St. Louis to beat the Rams. My gold pick, where I'm 5-5 on the season, sees the Cincinnati Bengals traveling to New Orleans to play the Saints. The Bengals were embarrassed last week on home field against a division rival. They lost that game big time to Cleveland. Final score was 24-3. Meanwhile, the Saints played in one of the marquee games of the NFL so far this season. Yeah, I'm going to say it. That was a great game that they played at home against San Francisco, eventually dropping the game by a field goal in overtime. And here comes my second question for you. Even though people have been discussing it since it happened, I want to hear your opinion. The Jimmy Graham push-off, or maybe not push-off, or kind of push-off, or kind of like love tap, flop, whatever. The Jimmy Graham play at the end of regulation in that New Orleans-San Francisco game. I want to hear from you guys about this. Did you think it was a flop? B, did you think it should have been called as a penalty? Any angle that you want to take on that, I want to hear from you in the comment section below about that play. Like I said, the Saints played a great game in that game against San Francisco, and again, came up a little bit short, but it was a really, really entertaining game. And it looks like they've got something there in Mark Ingram. They really got Mark Ingram going in that game, and he ran on San Francisco. Bengals are an extremely good team, but Andy Dalton seems like he might be struggling a little bit. Maybe A.J. Green is still feeling the effects of that toe injury. Whatever it was, Cincinnati did not play well against Cleveland. Dalton, particularly, had a horrendous game. So let's see if the Saints can get in his head too. For the gold pick, I'm going to tell you to take New Orleans at home to beat Cincinnati. And the platinum pick, where I am again 8-2 on the season, the Oakland Raiders traveling to San Diego, which is barely traveling really, to take on the Chargers. Chargers are coming off of a much-needed bye after they've dropped a couple of games in a row here and really were not playing all that well. Oakland, of course, coming off of that drubbing against Denver. This is probably the least confident platinum pick that I've made all season. When I make a platinum pick, I like to think that I am giving the team that I am picking the ultimate respect by saying, look, their opponent has no chance this week. And I'm kind of foolish for saying that, because even though Oakland's defense is barely above a junior varsity defense, their offense has actually put up points this year. And San Diego, over the last few weeks, has been struggling on both sides of the ball. I make this pick for one reason and one reason only. Aside from the fact that I do actually honestly think San Diego's due to win, I have a fundamental, deep-seated belief that the Oakland Raiders do not want to win a game. I really do think the Raiders are playing for the number 1 overall pick. And yes, of course, there's all this machismo garbage about, personal pride and, The fact of the matter is, the only way the Raiders fix this franchise is by getting the first overall pick and trading it. So you trade the first overall pick for NFL starter caliber pieces on defense, a couple, maybe get a draft pick in a later round coming back as well, and that's the way you most immediately help your franchise for next season. That's just me doing a little armchair GM, but that's legitimately the way I feel about this. So yeah, San Diego rolls. Platinum pick, San Diego at home to beat Oakland. Bet your house on it. Now let's take a look at the rest of my straight-up picks for Week 11 in the NFL. Feeling a little more awake now. Here they come. That's the Week 11 show for you, folks. Comments, hate, and love, you know where they go. Comment section below. It's time for the comment of the week from the Week 10 video. I asked people about the Chargers' chances to sort of reverse the skid and whether or not they could make the playoffs. And we have a great comment here from Sam, who is also Scarves Up from the Pick'em League. So he had a fantastic comment about this, which I'll read to you now. Can San Diego reverse the skid? They play the Raiders after a bye week, followed by the Rams at home. So yes, they will erase the skid, sort of. At the end of their schedule, I see at least 4 more losses. Broncos, Patriots, Ravens in Baltimore, and Chiefs in Kansas City. The game I'm not sure of is the 49ers in San Francisco. Last year I would have called it a loss, but this year it's a coin flip. Can the Chargers get into the playoffs? With an 8-8 record at best, the prognosis is pretty grim. Totally agree with that as well. But the comment goes on, and this is where the real insight starts to get in here. I will say this about the Rams game. It's your litmus test. If they can't beat the Rams at home, they're not a playoff team. The Rams are not that great a football team, but they are good enough to beat you if there's something off with your team. See Seattle, San Francisco. I thought that was great insight, actually, because it is 100% true. So that is kind of the litmus test there. If San Diego can beat them, I would say their chances are a whole lot better of maybe squeaking into the playoffs, but they do have a real rough schedule still ahead of them. Great insight, Sam. Thank you very much. You are the comment of the week in the Week 11 video. So that's it for this week. Justin, Bridgewater's Finest on YouTube, Blockbuster_guy on Twitter. Make sure you check out the video. Check out the description of the video for all that good stuff that I said was there. We will see you again for Week 12.